Hello, 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 and welcome back to yet another episode of Centered and Hustling, produced by I Am Yogi Studios, where wellness meets ambition, empowering women to stay grounded while chasing their dreams. So, today we have such a dope guest. I'm very excited, from the real HU.
You know?
Oh, y'all, I'm such a HU wannabe. Kayla is the founder of and CEO of My Beautiful Life, LLC, where she serves as the brand's working 200 hours certified yoga instructor, stay with me now, wellness guide, Reiki specialist, sound healer, and meditation facilitator. The Howard University graduate is a high school educator by day, where she empowers youth and community through her work. Deeply passionate about energy healing, yoga, meditation, and mental physical wellness, Kayla's mission is to foster harmony between mind, body, and spirit within herself first and foremost, and then to inspire others to do the same by sharing her journey. She leads by example, advocating for healing, transformation, and the creation of a beautiful life through her teachings and personal journey. She strives to be the embodiment of the My Beautiful Life LLC tagline, which is, stay with me now, creating a beautiful life for yourself by being a beautiful person. Give it up.
Thank you. You killed that. Thank you. You did a great job.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Y'all,
I'm so
she's coming
excited.
back from literally teaching a class.
Yes, I did. I just taught a yoga class. I taught school all day, high schoolers. I teach 9th grade English.
Ooh.
Yep. And then I taught a yoga class, and then I ran here.
Period.
Yeah.
You know, Black women.
That part.
Booked busy.
That
I
part.
love it.
That's been life lately. Real,
You know?
real busy, real moving.
Gotta stretch yourself thin. So, I want to start off with you kind of sharing your journey that led to the founding of My Beautiful Life. What inspired you to pursue a path in wellness, energy, healing, yoga? You do it all. So, tell us some.
I do. So, humbly, I do it all. So I got into this literally through my own healing journey, through the efforts of healing myself. So I was raised by a therapist. My mom is a therapist. And she went to school to become a therapist when I was in middle school. So from that time on, I had some knowledge about mental health, right? And then it wasn't until maybe, I think 9th grade was when I was first diagnosed with ADHD. And in 11th grade, I was put on medication for the ADHD, which was Adderall at the time. And that one thing led to another, where the Adderall was heightening my anxiety. So then I was on anxiety meds, and things were going really well with that for a while. When I was in high school, my grades skyrocketed, like socially, my life improved. Because I had a tumultuous life growing up, and not like upbringing, but just my own emotional world was all over the place because my mental was all over the place. So they put me on these meds, and then I got to college, and everything changed because college is not as structured as high school is. So like taking these meds really will throw off your whole mind, body, spirit setup if you're not careful. And I was not careful. I was very irresponsible with them, and I was really taking them to survive. And by the time I graduated college, I was living off of these meds. Like I needed them to wake up in the morning. And it was bad, and I knew it was bad, but I just wanted to graduate. At that point, I was struggling through school. Like I went through so much during college. I was just trying to get out of there. My last semester, I took 23 credits, to graduate on time.
Girl, who are you? Oh my God, you're literally preaching to the choir. Hold on, this is gonna be a good episode, y'all.
Yes, stressing myself out. I took 23 credits, and the first day of the second semester, my laptop broke. So I'm doing all my assignments on my phone, and when I tell you living off Adderall and Dr. Pepper, I wasn't eating because the Adderall curbs your appetite. It was just bad. So I ended up graduating on time. And when I graduated, I made a promise to myself that I was going to heal myself, mind, body, and spirit, whatever it took, because I wanted to get off of these meds. I didn't want to live this way anymore. I knew it was a problem. Now, that was 2019 when I graduated, but my grandmother passed away in 2017. And when she passed away, there was a series of events that led me to going to see a medium. Basically, my mom, like I said, is a therapist. She had a client who had somebody who passed. They went to go see a medium. They came back with this crazy story. So she ends up referring one of her other clients who had a spouse who passed to go see the same medium. And they came back with like this crazy story, all of these things, all these alignments, these beautiful messages, all of this stuff. So my mom ends up setting up an appointment for us because my dad's mom had passed to go see this medium. And it changed my life. Like, they went first and I heard the recording and I was like, I need to go. So me and my cousin end up going, and it opened me up to the fact that there's more here than just us. And like, my grandmother was still here, you know, is still here and guiding me. And I grew up Christian, and I grew up not super religious. Like, my parents never forced religion on me, but I was in a Lutheran school, and Jesus is still a very important figure and part of my life. But this experience, so at first, like, it was a scary thing, but once I actually experienced it for myself, it didn't feel scary, because it's like, if this is my grandmother, then it's safe.
Right.
And so that was the introduction for me to like spirituality. And from there, I would just pray. Like I always did, I would just continue to pray to God. And now I would communicate with my grandmother as well and just say, like, whatever you need me to do or whatever I need to do to be in a better space, like, send it to me, guide my steps, help me, you know, and it would happen. So when I graduated college, I made a plan, and I said, like, I was going to do all these things. I was going to do Forex. I was going to do Herbalife. I was going to do all these trendy things, right? But I knew that I wanted to get myself together, mind, body, spirit. So whatever things seemed like they aligned with that, I wanted to try to do that. And I did. I dabbled in here and there and everything, and I learned so much. And then COVID happened, right? So I graduated 19, spring 19, and COVID happened in spring 2020, like March 2020. I was working for a year, got laid off from my first job, applied to my second job that I'm still at now, and was teaching. COVID happened, they furloughed me. So now I'm home, right? Not only home, but I'm home getting paid.
Period.
Home getting paid to be home. And I just have nothing but time. And this was when I started getting into meditation. And I started reading books about, like, Deepak Chopra books. It was like a Deepak Chopra meditation that was circling around, and it was called 21 Days of Abundance or something like that. And that was like my first introduction to meditating. Okay. So that was the 21 Days of Abundance was my first introduction to meditation. And from there, I really started practicing observing my thoughts and observing my inner world and understanding what that looked like and felt like. And I mean, I just had so many experiences during this time that were enlightening me and teaching me stuff. I went on tour with my aunt, who did she's an actress, and she did a one-woman play on the life of Lisa Left Eye Lopez. And if you know anything about Lisa Left Eye Lopez, that part, right? So when she put this play together, she ended up connecting with Lisa's family. She went to Honduras to do research. Like, she did really in-depth work to put this play together. And that's when I learned about Dr. Sebi, and I learned about just all of this stuff in the process of me healing myself, right? It's no coincidence that I was invited to work on this play right after I graduated, when I said that I wanted to heal myself holistically, and I started learning about all these different things. It was just so much alignment. So 2021, I got trained in transcendental meditation. That was something that I had a therapist at the time who was also like spiritually inclined, and she recommended that I get into that because I started meditating and reading books about meditation and all that. So she said you should do TM. So I did that. I did that training. It was really powerful because it taught me about like the space between your thoughts. Like, a lot of times we don't notice any space between our thoughts because we're constant, like, thought to thought to thought to thought to thought. And it's important for us to learn how to pause in between our thoughts, right? To be present, to breathe. And then that's like where things get created. Like, we get to actually create our reality through that space. Yeah. So I learned that through transcendental meditation. And I just learned the importance of doing it daily, like twice a day. So that's what I did. And I was home. It was COVID, so there was nothing else to do. I did that, and I was home for a long period of time. And then I traveled to Atlanta in June of 2020. And that's when I started like living and seeing that the work that I was doing inside was actually rippling out into the world, where people were noticing my light. Things were aligning for me. Things were flowing to me very easily. Life was just falling into place. Like the most beautiful occurrences would happen. I would pray for something or ask for something and it would fall into my lap. And it was like, okay, I can tell that this is connected to the fact that I have been sitting with myself and doing this work, because a year and 5 months ago, I was miserable. I was at the lowest point of my life. I was addicted to Adderall. Like at this point, I was barely even taking my meds. I was still on them. I was barely taking them. So fast forward to now, I am 2 years off of the meds completely.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am. I stopped taking the anxiety meds in 2020, but I stopped the ADHD meds 2 years ago now in September. And I have since gotten my Reiki certification, which also was a part of just learning how to cleanse my energy. I learned that the ADHD and the anxiety is nothing but an accumulation of energy in your brain that has nowhere to go. So you need to find as many ways as possible to cleanse and clear that energy. That could be through exercise. That could be through changing your diet, because the food that we eat also accumulates energy. That could be through cleansing your space, because the things that we have around us hold energy. That could be through Reiki, because Reiki cleanses our chakras, which are our energy centers. It could be like through yoga, right? So sound healing, all these things. So all of the things that I have learned and have used on myself on this journey, I try my best to get trained in. If I feel called, I get trained to do it, and then I provide it for others, because I know that so many people are struggling with the same things that I was and don't have the tools. So I just try to normalize it and offer it to the community.
Y'all. Wow. Yeah. And I'm really astonished because of how much your story kind of aligns with mine. Hold on, you said so much. Wait, so boom,
I said
right?
so much.
Now, I was diagnosed with ADHD in like 7th or 6th grade. What brought it on though was I was in a car accident. So someone hit me while I was riding my bike, and I was in the hospital for 3.5 months, suffered a traumatic brain injury, multiple different injuries and whatnot. So my traumatic brain injury is something that I've always been kind of researching, because with the Adderall, like I started taking Adderall my freshman year of college.
Oh, wow.
And that was like, and I'm still on it, literally on it right now. Like, it's something that I do have to wake up and like actually take it. And if I don't, then I'm either going to be very unproductive during the day, or even at times it may be kind of like depressed in a way. Yeah. But with the Adderall and with because same thing with me, like they try to put me on depression and anxiety medication, Lexapro, all of these different things where I was like, girl, no. Like once Kanye said he was on Lexapro too, I was like, hold on, chill, give me all these. But like I always said, and I was very, very young, and my parents and I would go back and forth, and I was in high school at the time when they were giving me these meds, and I'm like, yo, I don't want to take medication. I would just rather figure it out myself. Like I would just rather understand. Because I can't keep staying on medication until I'm like well into my 30s and 40s. It's not something that I feel like would benefit me. So eventually they let the kid go. And it was a lot of zoning into my mental and locking into how I really am doing. Now, you mentioned your aunt.
Yeah.
Let's get into that, and let's get into what a medium is for people that don't know as well.
Okay, so before I do any of that, I want to say that I am somebody, I'm not like anti-meds.
If it works for you, it works.
If it works for you, it works. And like, I'm the hugest proponent for people doing what they need, like giving yourself what you need at every moment that you need it. It might be different from this moment to the next, but like just because it wasn't what I wanted to do anymore, it worked for me for a period of time. And that's why I never skipped that part of the story, because if it serves you right now, let it serve you. And if it's not something you want to do forever, then create a plan to not do it forever, right? Don't just like, it's very dangerous to just, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not, I don't want to be convincing anybody to hop up off their meds. Right. No, do what you need to do until you don't have to do it anymore.
Exactly. And you mentioned having to rush to do 23 credits. What? Girl. I'm taking 32 credits right now.
Okay, trooper. Listen.
Oh my God.
And you here with me.
Oh, child. No. But see, beforehand, I was locked into them assignments. And it really took 4 years in college to like actually get good study tips and being on my stuff. But it was like, now it's crunch time, and people with ADHD only work well under crunch time. Like,
which is so ridiculous.
It really is.
It's so ridiculous. But yeah, okay, so where do you want to start, my aunt or the medium?
Yeah, aunt. Mm-hmm.
So my aunt, what do you want to know about her?
So how was that tour? How was that experience? And that story, so when people go after Dr. Sebi and Left Eye and like looking into their story, there's the theories and the conspiracies of, they gonna get you, the CIA's on your tail. But how did she treat this experience? What was kind of like the journey that you witnessed?
Yeah, so I only stayed on the tour for one stop with her, and I saw the show at 2 stops. She was in Cleveland and then Atlanta, and I worked with her in Cleveland. And what I knew from even before going on tour with her was the amount of attention that she gave to how Left Eye saw herself in her own life versus like how everyone else saw her. Right. Like you said, people look at this stuff and they think it's all woo-woo and it's conspiracy this, conspiracy that. But at the end of the day, that was not Left Eye's perspective, right? She felt as if she was being healed in that experience. Right. So I saw my aunt really embody that. And I honestly, and I don't want to put this on her because I don't know if she would claim it in this way, but I feel like she was channeling her through her acting, because her family, Left Eye's family, would say that it felt like she was in the room. Like when they're watching her perform, and it felt like she was there, and they would get emotional and all this. And that was so powerful for me because, again, like the spiritual experiences that I was having, it was just very spiritual. And my aunt is a Christian. Like I don't think that she would even really be into the same things that I am into to the extent that I am, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because acting, making music, making any type of art, like we are channeling. Yeah. We are bringing something from the unknown into the known. And she was being somebody else, for the time being. And she just embodied her so well. First of all, she's like spitting image of her. So she looks just like her. And she's always gotten that. So that's like the first thing. And then just learning, like, I'm pretty sure she went to Honduras and did research at like Dr. Sebi. I think he has a
like not really a museum, but they kind of kept his artifacts and whatnot, and like I don't even know what the word I'm looking for.
I feel like it's a holistic center. It's some type of center that they have, and I don't want to butcher this, but I know that she did her research and went there and like embodied. So it was a one-woman play. So she played all parts. She also played Dr. Sebi in the play. Wow. Yeah. So she played all parts in the play. She played the father. She played Lisa. She played the mom. She played the boyfriend whose house she blew up. Like she played every role. She played Tupac. She played every role in the play. And it's just powerful. So I don't really know where else to go with that because, again, I don't want to speak too much for her. Yeah. But for me, from my perspective, watching her embody that role and just like what I learned from my short period of time there, it was so aligned with what I was searching for. I was searching for healing, right? And it was just confirmation that there was even a possibility.
Right. And with the medium, so explain to people what a medium is and kind of your experience with it, because hearing you talk about it, I'm like, hold on, wait, I'm finna do some research. Like,
yeah. So this is something else that could be very woo-woo, and again, do only what you feel called to, you know, always. So a medium is a psychic medium is the full term. And first of all, psychic is like a taboo word, but we are all psychic. And this is what I believe, not pushing this belief on anybody, but this is what I believe. We are all psychic, and we have abilities to connect with energy beyond the physical through different means. So like some people feel energy, some people see energy, some people taste energy, smell energy, some people have dreams, some people hear, right? So it's all these different ways of connecting beyond the physical. And it gets stronger for some people the more you nurture it. Some people were born with it very strong. Some people were born with it not strong at all. Like, we all have it, but it's just about how you nurture it. So what a medium does is they connect with the spirit realm, and they can usually, or not usually, but sometimes they connect with the people who have passed on, depending on the type of medium that you're speaking with. And at this time, I was very like uninformed. I was just going based off of the call. Like I felt like I was being called to it. Things were aligning. And so I just, followed the call. And I, since then, have really moved in an intuitive manner like that because of the awakening that brought me. I always kind of now follow that same call. So that's basically what a medium is. They connect with the spirit realm. That medium in particular was connecting us with my grandmother who had passed away. From that point, I had seen a few mediums after that. I would go like maybe every 6 to 8 months for a couple of years. And then at a certain point, it became like one of the young ladies who gave me a reading told me that like your spirit guides are laughing at you for coming to get a reading because you already know everything that we're about to say. Like, you're already doing this work. You already know. You're already connecting. You don't have to keep getting readings. And that was the last reading I ever got. So after that, like, I just connect to myself. And I feel like it's very important that people who do seek out this type of work
are ready to face the work.
Do the work within yourself, because it's a risk to be reliant on other people in any regard in your life. I'm a big proponent of getting my information from inside of me. And anytime that I'm getting information from outside of me, I need to check with my connection to God.
Exactly.
To make sure that it resonates with me, because it doesn't mean that it's not true. It doesn't mean that there's not truth to it, but is it true for me? Is it what I need right now, right? So when it comes to like mediums and spiritual work, I think that people need to not only do their research, but they need to sit with themselves and decide how it feels for them before just jumping, because it's so over like saturated right now. There's people posting readings all over social media, and like I didn't
supposed to do, yo.
I didn't get my person from there. That first reading that I got, like it was literally aligned. It wasn't like I was scrolling and my algorithm put it in front of my face. It wasn't like that. So I think I caution people right now in this day and age, because it's very trendy, and it's a lot of people out here scamming, and it's a lot of people out here also just trying to test their gifts, and you don't necessarily want somebody testing their gifts on you. So that's not something that I necessarily recommend, but I just share my experience because it's my truth.
Right. And how do you think that your relationships with people have kind of shifted since getting into your wellness journey? Because one thing about it, if you're going to taking on yourself and understanding yourself and learning about yourself, other people are going to fade and things in your life are going to shift because you need to let them go. So what has been your experiences with relationships, friendships, everything?
That's a great question. So from the beginning, it was like a task or a challenge for me to be with myself, and like not just to be with people for the sake of having somebody around. And leaning into that from the beginning caused people to fall off. And sometimes things would happen, like it would be excuse me. sometimes it would be like I stuck around for too long. So something would happen. And sometimes it would just be like a natural fade away. But like you could always tell when people are not in alignment anymore. We're just not talking about the same things. Like I'll be around people who just wanted to talk about the Shade Room and Jada and Ari, and like no shade to Miss Jada and Miss Ari,
No
but
shade, no tea,
I
don't care.
was going through like big ego deaths, you know, like my whole inside was transforming, and that's what I wanted to talk about most of the time. And I wanted to talk about what my friends were going through. I didn't want to talk about gossip. I didn't want to I didn't even really want to talk about like making money and like stuff like that. It wasn't as important to me anymore. What was important to me was my healing journey, and if it wasn't about that for a period of time, I wasn't around people. But with time now, I have like a diverse array of people in my life, and depth is important to me. So like my relationships do have to have some level of depth, but I also can hold space for the shallow too. Like I could gossip a little bit now. I could cleanse myself, and like I can set boundaries, energetic boundaries. Excuse me. Oh, girl, I'm burping.
It's okay.
Excuse me. But yeah. So I think that my relationships have changed drastically, and like the way that I date has changed a lot too. I've been single for a long time. I have not been in a committed relationship in 10 years. So my whole adult life.
Yeah.
And I would say that I started dating intentionally 6 years ago, maybe 5. And even more intentionally once I started doing this work, because it became so important for me to know what I want. Like before, I was just dating because I wanted a guy around, and like I wanted to feel like, same thing with friends. Like I was just hanging around people because I wanted people around. But as I got deeper into my work, it became more about knowing myself, because now I'm connecting with myself. And that's really what the work is about. It's about getting deeper and deeper in connection with self, because to me, that's where God is. God is in the depths of my spirit, the depths of my soul. So for me to know God, and for me to know where to go next, for me to know the next step I need to take, I need to deepen my connection with self. So that meant, as I'm knowing people, as I'm meeting people and being surrounded by people, I need to be paying attention to what I like and what I don't like, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what gives me like butterflies, what makes me feel calm and at peace, what gives me a headache, what makes my stomach turn, like what am I feeling moment to moment. And that took a lot of time for me to get together, because I was disconnected from my body for a long time. But that has become the goal over time when it comes to relationships and being around people.
Yeah, you hit a lot of pointers, especially when it comes to my energy don't match with yours no more, boo. Like that's just it. And I think that's been a little bit of my college experience so far. Freshman year, I was a social butterfly. Sophomore year is still kind of the same thing. And then towards the end of sophomore year, I was like, actually, I don't really... Not that I don't like y'all cool though, but it's just like for this time, for this moment, you do not serve me. If we going outside though, I might just give you a call. I might just call you. And I think once junior year came, it was super, super duper intentional. And seeing how people around me kind of shifted because of y'all seeing me on campus less, or when you do see me, it's because I'm doing something that is actually moving me towards my future and moving me towards the path that I'm aligned to be on. Meanwhile, others might be on a different line. I'm not gonna knock what they're going through or knock how they take on their story, but it's very different than mine. And so kind of being okay with that. And I think like a lot of times, like we're having this conversation, and it's kind of like you're saying everything that's been on my head and been in my mind, but I kind of just been learning, being a sponge, taking it in, but I don't really know how to at times formulate it. But then I have friends where it's like we'll go from talking about how Barney scammed us to talking about how we could save the world and F capitalism. Like it can go so many different places, but those conversations and those people means so much to the current moment, to the time, because I've noticed as well when having these conversations with certain people that you're aligned to meet, or you guys are close or whatever the case may be, the things that they be saying, you're like, wait, hold on, Buki, because I was just talking about that the other day or whatever. And it's like everything is all within alignment. Now, the one thing though, how do you become okay with that uncomfortability? Because you're having to get out of what was a comfort zone, and then when you know that it's just not serving you within your spirit, you're like, okay, I gotta move on. But there is kind of that bittersweet feeling when it comes to moving on.
Yeah. So you said a lot, and I a lot of what you said resonates with me. To answer your question, though, I am a Scorpio moon, so
I was gonna ask you what your signs are.
Yeah, I'm a Taurus sun, Aries rising, Scorpio moon. I got a lot of Taurus placements too. Like I'm a heavy Taurus, but I'm a Scorpio moon, so I'm constantly like going through rebirths, constantly dying, rebirthing. So letting go has become a part of my life, and learning to do so. And it's not easy. It is hard, and like accepting what it is. But there's also a peace that comes with just accepting what is, you know, because you don't have to force. Like if you're not letting go, then you're forcing something, or at least I am, because of how my life changes so frequently. Like my reality is always shifting. So if I'm not letting go, then I am holding on to something, and that's causing tension in some way, shape, or form. So it's like, and there's seasons of that. There's seasons of me holding on, and I'm just like, I don't want to let go. And God is like, okay, cool, you don't gotta let go, but
watch this.
It's gonna shake it up. It's gonna get shaken up, and I'm fighting, and it's happening. But eventually, when I surrender and I let go, then everything flows as it was always meant to.
Right.
And I always trust that. Like, even when I'm not letting go right away, I still always know, like, God is going to align everything the way that it's supposed to be aligned the moment that I do let go. So then sometimes that's why I hold on a little longer, because it's like, okay, once I let go, it'll work out.
Yeah.
And everything happens when you're ready. So it's kind of like, I'm just not ready yet. I'm just not ready yet. And then I do, and then it works out.
Yes. And that's crazy. Oh my God.
It's like you said, when you are doing the work, like you literally meet people who can read your mind. Yeah. Who can read your heart. Like you literally meet people who can speak the words of your heart, because you are tapped into that. Yeah. People can see it. They feel it off of you.
Child. And the timing of it, because I had just gotten back into a situation that I was in that I know, and I knew kind of from the start, was not meant to serve me. And over the past few years hasn't really served me. But I'm still, I'm still clinging. And I'm so just like, okay, I'm going to move however I got to move right now, because it's going to end up somewhere. And wherever it's going to go is where I need it to be in the first place. Now, is there a little bit of self-sabotage? Possibly. Is there a little bit of, girl, you know better, and the spirit guy's going to come over and shake some up like you said? It's on the way. I know it. But I'm praying to be like, okay, when it comes, just don't, not too much. Just let me breathe through it. But it's like, that's okay. And I feel like in a culture now, we're kind of glorifying these toxic entities that we have within our lives, whether it be relationships or friendships or jobs, even family.
Money, family. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. There's always a negative connotation behind anything that you do and however
toxic
you move.
Media, girl.
Toxic media.
It's so much toxicity that people
and they eat it up.
Yeah,
like I can't watch baddies.
I won't touch it.
I can't watch baddies.
I won't touch it. Bless their hearts, though.
Bless all their hearts.
Bless their hearts. Bless the watchers. Like I said, I'm a 9th grade teacher, and my students will be talking about baddies, and I'm like,
girl,
like I can't believe. And that's my biggest beef with a lot of things, is that the kids have access to it.
Yes.
Like, I don't care what you do as a grown adult,
But the
like,
kids.
the kids are seeing the same stuff, watching the same things that we're watching, and that's the part to me that makes me not want to endorse it a lot.
Yeah.
No, if I'm outside, I'm gonna endorse certain things.
Right. Sexy red all the way.
That's my listen. Read it. We got telepathy, girl. But yeah. Outside, I'm gonna endorse certain things, but internally, it's bothersome to me.
Yes.
And I kind of do want to get to a place where I'm not even really endorsing it outside either.
Yeah.
But you know, duality.
Duality is key, boo.
Balance.
Duality is key.
Balance is important.
What did Tyler say? See, now you bring up a great point about kids and you being a high school teacher. I mean, first of all,
before you say that, I'm sorry. Don't forget your thought though. You said that self-sabotage. I want to make a point because people need to hear this. Spirit's put in my heart to say self-sabotage is a part of the journey sometimes. Like self-sabotage is often a part of the journey. You are supposed to go through it as long as you are going through it, and that's just how you learn the lesson. And then once you get past it, then you say, oh, I remember when
Yeah.
But like if you just went straight to the better you and like never self-sabotage, it won't stick.
Yeah.
You need to, like, that's life. That's what life is about, going through it. So like self-sabotage is a part of it.
Yeah. And to that as well, when you have friends and people and family in your ear telling you that you're doing the self-sabotage, or telling you, oh, you need to move on and you need to do X, Y, and Z, you can't allow those voices in your head, because at the end of the day, it's your journey and it's how you're going to take things in. Because one thing about it, I'm a Libra, okay? I'm a Libra sun, I'm a Libra moon, I'm a Sag rising, but I'm a Libra Venus.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, I'm Libra down. Happy Libra season, y'all. But it's like, one thing I'm gonna do, I always take in what people say, but I'm gonna listen to myself at the end of the day. I do listen to my mama though, because every time I don't, I get played. So yeah, I listen to my mama. But it's okay to not have to hear what your friends got to say. It's okay to be like, y'all, thank y'all for y'all sentiment, and I love y'all for loving on me.
Yeah.
But like in this current moment, I'm good. Like it may not seem like it, but I promise I am.
Yeah.
Like now to the kids, right? You being a high school teacher, I can't even imagine, because I'll be on the app trying to get home from work or going on my break or going to school, and it'd be these little gremlins out here, and I'm like, yo, y'all are pissing me off. But then I'm like, oh my God, am I aging? But in retrospect, like, I really don't like it, because I'd be walking past and hearing their conversation, and I'm like, there's no way that we were like this growing up as well. Like, yes, we were overexposed. Yes, my brother had to pop me in my mouth when I was singing super bass at age 8. Yes, he did. But it's just like things like that we knew better on. We didn't even want to say things like damn, because we're like, nah, you don't say things like that.
Yeah.
But now there's a lack of respect. There's a lack of knowing your place. There is no more kids' place no more. And they can't, because they over here, either the kids are having the kids or it's just in your face, and then people aren't really correcting it. And there's less, I feel like there's less happy homes now. But as a high school teacher, how do you kind of use your tactics of healing and wellness to kind of guide kids, the youth, within the right direction? Because, shoot, freshman year, I had a therapist that used to say people screw up their lives, or not even screw them up, but create habits that will ruin you further along between ages 14 to 18. And in those periods, if you don't actually do the work to heal and get over things, hey, better have a good relationship with the Lord.
Listen, so sometimes I feel like it's kind of hard to really get in there with the kids the way that I need to, being a teacher. And I have like my beefs with the academic system, but I will, and not even but, and I want to add that I have grace for these kids, because they are growing up in a very complex time that nobody has like a blueprint for. Nobody, like, we grew up in the beginning of social media, but they're growing up in like the prime of social media where it is the world.
Yeah.
And they like you said, okay, we were singing super bass, maybe getting popped in the mouth, but it was like a couple songs here and there, and it was still not
too
overt.
bad.
Like the way that the inappropriateness is so overt in the media and in the music right now, it's completely different. And what they don't know anything else.
No.
So it's hard for me to be mad at them because they don't know anything else, and then like we want to blame parents, but then it's kind of hard for me to be mad at parents because you can't really control, like you don't have
control what they consume
every moment of every day. You're not with them. So I don't know who to blame. It's really hard for me. I'm still like in the process of trying to figure out how to best serve them other than just catch things as they happen. And like when I hear them saying things, or when I hear them treating each other certain ways, or talking even about themselves in certain ways, just correcting it, like reminding them how powerful their words are, and reminding them like how they should be seeing themselves. Because I really feel like a lot of the issues come from the way that they see themselves, and
compared to social media,
comparing themselves constantly on social media. So now everybody is trying to just compete, you know, whether it's how they dress, what they're buying, or like the crazy things that they're doing. Like everybody's just trying to compete for the moment, you know, to be the center of the moment.
Right.
And it gets very dangerous, but I just try to empower them as far as their self-esteem. Like I run several self-esteem groups in my school for the girls because I want them to feel like they're beautiful. Simply put, like feel like you're beautiful, because that will alleviate so many issues and problems in your life down the line if you just believe that you're beautiful. And treat yourself in alignment with that, and then also like treat other people as if you think you're beautiful, because when you feel good about yourself, you treat other people well. And I noticed like if they're treating each other bad, it's always rooted in like a self-esteem thing. You know, I really think it's a self-esteem crisis. There's a lot of crises going on with them, but I really just try to be an example. I try to, like I said, catch it when I see it happening in the moment. But I haven't fully figured out. I don't even know if I'm in the role right now that I need to be in to make the greatest possible impact on them. But I just do my best.
Right. You do what you got to do. And honestly, what I could say, growing up in New York public school systems, if I saw a girl like you coming into the class, or like just even walking around the school, and you were a person that I have to like speak up, like look up to, oh, please, what? It would have made so much of a difference.
Yeah.
Because like, I have teachers that have put me in a kind of academic role where my sophomore year of high school, I had a teacher named Ms. Fife, and I loved that little white lady with 3 strands of hair on her head. Like, and I call her Fife Dog. Like, she was one of them ones, but it was like she didn't look like me, but she taught me about my history.
Yeah.
And she taught me how to see through the white people and like see through certain things. And so with her, how I am now, it's a lot of it is credit to her. Like my family, there's still people that are, oh, look out for this, and da-da-da. Oh, did you notice that every time it's a movie and somebody dies, it's a black person? Like, you know, they teach me how to look out for things.
Yeah.
But it takes being outside of the house to understand it and grasp
Absolutely.
it. And so, yeah, the representation at these schools,
it's so important.
What?
I actually don't work at a public school. I work in a private school in Long Island. And it's interesting because it's a school that I went to. And it was always very diverse, super diverse. And now it's predominantly black. Now they have like 52, 53% black kids, but no black teachers really, except me and one other teacher. And it's just very interesting. First of all, I love the school. Like, it is such a beautiful and safe space and community for kids to grow up. And it's kids from all over. Kids from Queens, kids from Brooklyn, kids from other states come there now. And it's just like a very diverse school and a safe space, like I said. But it's just what I feel like I didn't get from being there was enrichment in, you know, my blackness.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And that's why I went to Howard, to get that. And it's an honor for me to be back there serving them in this as best as I can in this role. And like you said, being representative for them, be
Yeah.
representation for them, and look like somebody who looks like them, because there's nobody else really there who does. And I'm like, we love the teachers there. The teachers there are great and amazing people, but it's just not the same, you know.
Yeah.
When somebody doesn't look like you, they can't always connect with you and understand you. So I'm grateful to be there, and I feel like I'm making a huge impact there, but I also don't know that I'm doing all that I need to be doing or can be doing. So,
And that comes with time.
yeah.
I have a soror of mine who is actually did the same thing. She graduated this past year, and she works at her public school in Brooklyn that she went to. And hearing her experiences so far, there is some ridicule from like older teachers or whatever. That's gonna be there for life. But she has been kind of dealing with the, damn, these kids are really like this right now. Like, nah, baby, this isn't it. Like, I know we were watching things like Bad Girls Club. I was definitely all over Bad Girls Club. I was all over. But Bad Girls Club was never, I don't know. Maybe it was Baddies. But Baddies, like, y'all have knots on your head. Like, it's too much going on. And it's like, all you consistently see is black women tearing other black women down. And so it went from who's dripped out in Justice and Victoria's Secret to who's dripped out in Montclair's and Mary's and Telfar and Marc Jacobs bags. Man, these kids don't even eat off the kids menu no more. They get clams and oysters. Like, what? What happened?
Real bougie. I'm not gonna lie. Listen, I feel bad for the parents. And like, my parents had it bad because I was a very fortunate child, and I got a lot growing up. But like, I don't think I could compete with these kids.
I can't. No.
I don't think I could if I was a kid.
No, there was 3 girls. I was dead walking in from my break, and it was 3 little high school girls. And like, they see me coming, and they was just looking at me, and I looked down. I'm like, hold on.
Not you look down.
Let me keep walking. Usually, like, on the street, you can't tell me nan. I'm really walking the wrong way in my head. But like, they saw me, they looked at me, and I was like, hold on. Not today, Lord. But like,
I'm weak.
Yes, the kids, y'all, we need to say the kids because in some way we've done this to them.
Yeah.
And every generation does this to the next. I think early Gen Z, they say Gen Z ends at 2012. I don't believe that worth a dang. I think the most I can get is like maybe 05. Nah, I don't know.
Really? 2012?
Yes, they say 1997 to 2012.
I'm the first year Gen Z.
My brother's the first year.
Yeah, I'm the first year Gen Z. But I feel both the influence of millennial and Gen Z.
Exactly. So it's like we were humbled and stuff by millennials.
Yeah.
And then Gen Z is in the stage of this new fourth industrial revolution when it comes to technology. And then we're kind of pioneering things, and then Vine and all this other stuff was going on, and now we have TikTok.
Right, which has taken over the world. I mean, honestly, all of social media has taken over the world. But I agree. I want to highlight what you said because it's very important that we do need to pour everything that we have into the kids, into ourselves first and foremost, and then into our communities, and then into the kids, like, or the other way around, into ourselves, into the kids, and then into our peers, because they are the future. Like, we don't have anything to look forward to for the next generation if the kids don't carry on in the ways that they need to. And it's looking spooky. Like,
it's real spooky. They don't even know basic information. They don't know their states. They don't know who's in the White House right now.
A lot of them can't write.
Yeah, they can't read. And it's like, dang.
And I hate even like speaking that over them because they can do these things. They just they're not motivated right now. And again, this is why I have a beef with the academic system, because I just feel like it's so outdated and it's not connecting with the kids in the ways that they need to. Like, the world has changed so much, and they can't focus in the ways that kids used to focus because there's so many other distractions.
Yeah.
it needs to catch up. The academic system is failing the kids. It needs to catch up. And because it hasn't, like, we as the people have to pour into the kids in other ways, because they'll be okay. Like, they'll figure it out. They'll go through things that will teach them the same ways that we did. And they'll have everything that they need eventually. But we got to keep our eyes on them and our hands on them.
Exactly. It'll look different, but it's really the same, honestly. And with that, like, I feel like the kids now, they lack kind of the identity of self. I think, like we were saying earlier, there's so much looking at social media, looking at Jada Wada, looking at Ari, looking at all of these people that are quote unquote influencers. We didn't really have influencers growing up. We had like YouTubers. We had De'Aaron and Ken and all them other people, but it was like, it was more entertainment, I feel like. And as each generation goes on, it'll continue to get worse. But what you were saying about the reading and writing, now that I think about it, not that I'll never forget how to write, because obviously we were taught how to write and do cursive and all this other stuff. But when I do pick up a pencil nowadays, I'm like, damn, I ain't writing in a minute.
It's different.
And so now they're always just on their computers, on their iPads and whatever. And the academic school system is always behind, especially in New York. Especially in New York. So when people say things like defund the police, it's not actually trying to take paychecks out of these take paychecks and food out of these police officers' families' mouths, but it's genuinely reinvesting and allocating funds in the community. Because why y'all running around with electric Mustangs right now? NYPD was never, bro, it was never that serious. It was never that serious.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started, but like, yes.
Yeah, the kids need it. Like, I don't even know that the answer is... and this is controversial. I don't know that the answer is putting more money into the schools, because I don't trust the schools to do with the what's money necessary with the money. Like, honestly, I'm on something now where people need to just be taking their kids out of schools and teaching their kids at home.
Yeah.
Hiring people personally to teach your kids, people that you trust to teach your kids, and not just teach your kids what they're teaching them in the schools, but teach them real stuff.
Yeah.
Like you said, sense of self. That's not something that we are. You said kids don't have a sense of self. Nobody really is really focusing on that. And let me not say nobody, because there are people and there are communities of us who are.
But the general population, not enough of us.
The large amount of people for generations and generations before us have not been focused on sense of self. And for a period of time, it was because they didn't have time to do that.
Right.
People were trying to survive. And some people are still trying to survive, right? And for them, I think that the idea of understanding who you are should be in your mind, but I understand it may not be able to be the forefront of your mind, because you got to figure out where you're getting your next meal from, right? But the benefit that I've had in my life is the fact that my parents have been very present in my life, like in many ways, right? And they have been able to support me in many ways so that I don't have to live in survival mode, so that I'm able to focus on who I am.
Who you are, yeah.
Finding out who I am, figuring out who I am, and getting deeper in touch with that. And I think that that's what the kids need to learn when they're not focused on fending for themselves and trying to put food on the table. Before they get to that age, they need to be taught to figure out who they are. Because right now, everybody is trying to be who somebody else told them to be.
Yeah.
Everybody is trying to be what they saw on their phones. Everybody's trying to be what they were taught in the schools. Everybody's trying to be what their parents told them, what their pastor told them, what whoever told them. Everybody's trying to be what somebody else told them to be. And it's like, you don't even know yourself. You haven't sat with yourself ever in your whole entire life long enough to hear your own inner voice. That's like my whole thing, my main thing. And that's, if I can do anything in this world before I leave it, it's like teach as many people as possible how to forge their own way and get in touch with that inner voice within themselves. Ignore whatever else you hear around you for a period of time, just to get in touch with that and follow that calling, follow that light, follow that inner voice, because that's where everything that you desire lies. That's where everything that you're meant to have lies, your purpose, all the things that people be so up in arms about. Like, It's in you. It's inside of you. So people are lost, and this is intentional, right?
Yeah.
By design, like we live in a world that is intentionally created to distract us.
Yeah.
And keep us in survival mode so that we are not in touch with ourselves. But we have to resist that. Like we have to fight against that. And it's a form of, what's the word? It's like a form, like when you're fighting against something.
It's a tug of war type of thing.
Yeah. It's a
resisting.
Yes, it's a form of resistance to tap into your inner world, because everything around us is trying to distract us from doing that and stop us from doing that. Everything around us benefits and profits off of us not knowing who we are, off of us not being in touch with our own inner voice and our own inner alignment. Everything around us benefits from that. So the moment that we do get in touch with who we are, the world changes. Everything heals because we've healed, and then the world becomes a reflection of us, and we're all trying to get the world to change externally, and like we want this person in office, and we want this to happen, and we want these people to stop doing this, and we want the world to change externally. And it's like you have to get in touch with your inner self so that the external world can reflect
change,
that.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Yeah. And that's what the center of wellness is. Like being able to differentiate the outside noise versus what's your noise. And there's this dope book, one of my favorites of all time, The 4 Agreements.
Love it. My favorite.
Yes. The 4 Agreements, literally on the first chapter, like the first 3-4 pages, speaks exactly about what you just spoke about being looped in a system of you're given your name, you're told who your parents are, you're told the yeses and nos and the rights from wrongs. You're told who to look up to. You're told who's authority. You're told that you're not authority because you're a kid and all this other stuff. So you're looped in a system, but it's about how you differentiate the system versus who you are as a person, for sure.
Yep.
I feel like we've gotten so far, just so many topics. We listen, y'all. We did a lot. We did a lot. We said a lot. But the importance of something like your tagline, creating a beautiful life for yourself by being a beautiful person. Like that, in my head, how I internalized it is like, if you're not one with yourself, you're not going to be one with anyone else. And we're all connected. We're all so divinely connected. And the minute that you're able to see yourself within another person, no matter what the struggle, no matter what it is, if you're able to see yourself as a reflection of someone else, shoot, you're one with yourself. You're one with the earth. You're one with what you have to be. And I think there's such a stigma over wellness. So how do you kind of remove yourself from that stigma? How do you persevere when people are like, oh, you talking about crystal, oh, meditation, oh, like nowadays it's all over TikTok, it's all over social media, but it's just glorified in an incorrect way. So how do you personalize it?
Yeah, this is a tough one for me. I'm actually currently going through this process of releasing shame, right? Because shame is something that so many of us carry, because it's another one of those programs that society ingrains into us through our experiences and through the systems that are in place, right? It becomes a part of who we are. And being so deep in this journey, there's a lot of people around me who demonize the work that I do, or like the things that my practices, my spiritual practices. And they'll never quite demonize me. They'll always, because they know who I am, and they know how I treat people, they know how I show up in the world, and they know the impact that I've had on them, right? They won't demonize me, but they'll be like, but those things you do, right? And it's still triggering to me right now, and I'm working on getting to a place where I don't allow it to trigger me. What other people believe does not threaten what I believe, because I think that everybody is supposed to believe what they need to believe, you know? And I understand that what I believe does threaten what some other people believe. I understand that, and I to that, like I can only meet it with love, because anything else brings us deeper into a divide. Anything else causes more harm. And that's the whole thing. Like, they want us to be divided. They want us to be looking at each other as not one. Like you said, right? We are one. We are all, like, even though we believe different things and we have different perspectives and different experiences, we are all one. We are all of God. We are all here on earth, doing the same thing, living life, breathing the same air. Like, we are all one. And when you observe nature and you observe any other living thing, like, it is doing the same things that we are doing. It's living life in very similar ways that we are living life. We mimic these things. And it's like, you don't have to understand, you don't have to recognize the connection between it if you don't want to, but I do.
Right.
I do. So I just try to lean into that as much as possible and understand that it's not about me. Like, it's not personal. People demonizing the things that have benefited me is about them and their fears and their own personal beliefs, like, I can't make it about me. And that's hard for me, because I do have like a people pleasing thing that I be working through, and I want to be liked, but I'm at a point in my life now where it's like, it's more important. It's more important for me to be in my purpose and in my light than to be liked. People are not going to like what I have to say. They're not going to like who I am becoming, but I have to do that, because if I don't, then I'm betraying myself. I'm betraying God, because God put this in me, like, God gave me yoga, God gave me the crystals, God aligned me with the medium. Like, there's no, and people want to say like, this is God and this isn't God. That's not what I believe. I believe God is all. I don't believe there is separation. So when people are speaking to me, trying to demonize what I do, they're speaking kind of like a different language, and they're speaking from a whole different perspective. And I'm trying, I'm working. I'm not trying, I am. Actually, I am becoming the person who just meets it with love and understands fully and continues on, because what else am I going to do?
Right.
Am I going to change? Am I going to
because someone else said
because someone else said it's demonic, but it's serving me. So then what? Now I don't have my tools. Now I don't have the things that God sent me, and I'm disconnected from my spirit and my connection to God because I'm listening to you.
Right.
Everybody else is doing that. Right. That's what everybody's doing. So I just have to continuously have these conversations in my head and remind myself why I'm here and why I'm doing what I'm doing, and it's not for them. And
and that's that. And I hope that listeners are really actually opening not only their ears but their hearts to kind of how you word things. I pay a lot of attention to how people phrase certain things because it matters with the intention in which you speak. And you speak not only flawlessly but intentionally. Like, you speak with, you corrected yourself with, I am becoming a person. And that says a lot, and it means a lot.
Thank you.
Of course. And I feel like with everything going on now, it's very crucial to have that type of bond with yourself. I'm not gonna lie. I was just in the mirror the other day. I'm like, damn, I like the bond I have with myself. Like, genuinely speaking, because if you don't, then why do you want someone else to like you? Why do you want anyone else within your circle? My aunt used to love this poem, Ego Trippings by Nikki Giovanni. And that poem has a plethora of beautiful lines. But the one that I always try and revert back to and think about, I cannot be comprehended except by my permission. In Lexi layman Negro terms, that mean you heifers were never ever define me because I ain't give you heifers the room to even be in my circle. You hating and you can't even get in.
Can't even get
you
in.
Can't even get outside in. You outside the club. Like, I have an analogy.
I received that.
I have an analogy of there's a theater, and y'all gotta bear with me. Y'all know I got ADHD. Okay. There's a theater, and within that theater, there's box office, the mezzanine, the highest level, stage, front, everything. there's the theater is kind of like how I trust people and how I bring people into my circle of trust. So when you first meet someone, you know, they're starting out at will call, waiting to hear their name, waiting to come into the theater. Okay, now you get into the theater, you get into the lobby. Now you're waiting to actually get into the main hall. You're waiting to be able to be seated, to see kind of where you're positioned. Then you have, all right, some people get in the mezzanine because it's like, okay, you cool and all, but I don't know how much I actually trust you, but you could watch from afar. I have you at arm's reach. Some people start off damn near in the middle, in the center, at the third, second row, and then they end up going all the way back to the mezzanine. That's okay, though. Some people get kicked out and then end up still waiting to hear their name called in a box office, and it's not going to happen, bookie boo. But how you really let people into your energy matters so much, and I feel like the energy that I'm getting from you is obviously way beyond the realms of one with self, but being okay with it. And I think nowadays it's very hard to be okay with that because people don't really understand, well, why aren't you tripping out when a certain situation happens? Why aren't you a mental frenzy? What's like, you know, why aren't you handling things how I would handle things? But it's just like when you know who you walk with, I can't fear anything because I don't serve a God that puts this fear in me.
Period.
There is no fear when it comes to God.
There's nothing to fear.
There's nothing to fear.
There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. And that is like, first of all, I love the analogy. Thank you. I needed that. I just saw the most beautiful play ever the other day, Sunday, and it's a perfect analogy. So thank you. And there is no fear, which is exactly why, like, when people come to me about, like, oh, yoga is this and, like, this is that, it's like, who are you serving that you think that anything could have power over you? Yeah. Who do you think you are?
Do you know who you are?
You don't. Or maybe, like, I don't, and I this is another thing, too, that I'm trying not to do is, like, demonize those who try to demonize what I do, right? Because it's like, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Everybody is where they are meant to be, and in a triggered state, like from my lower self, I want to be like, oh, they don't even know who they are, like da-da-da, and like ridicule them. But in reality, like, they are exactly where they're supposed to be. Everybody is believing exactly what they're supposed to believe, and just because they want to ridicule me does not mean I know
not gonna
better.
Them, yeah.
I know better. Like, I know that I don't have any right to ridicule you. I understand that. So I also try not to do too much of that. But it's like, at the end of the day, what I believe is no fear. You know, and the moment I feel fear, I'm trying to figure out what it is. What is that? What is that that is making me fearful? Because that's not of God. If it's making me fearful, it's not of God. So if you feel fearful about something, then, like, don't do it.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest thing. Like, just because I do something, everything that I show about my journey, you will never hear me say, like, you should do this. Unless, like, I'm selling a service or whatever. Yeah, of course, I'm trying to get people to come. But I'm never trying to push my practices on anybody because it's not for everybody.
Yeah, and whoever it finds, it was meant to find.
It's meant for who it's meant for, and that's that. But, like, I don't believe in other people trying to push what they believe in onto other people either. You know? Like, speak from the eye. Talk about what works for you and your experiences. Don't try to tell other people what they need to do.
Yeah, because then at that point, you're kind of going against everything that you're speaking about. Because if you are speaking in it, and there are times where I've heard some wellness coaches, and honestly none that I've met in person, I feel like it's always just been on the net, but I've heard those phrases of, if you're doing this, you're doing it wrong. And that's how they get the TikTok views, because they're like, oh, hold on, wait, but I am doing that. Wait, now you're like over here second guessing yourself, and you're saving a video to go back to it for what, Buki? I hope you don't go back to it. But now, I'm someone that can't really keep a routine. I have a routine. I make my bed. I think that's the most of my routine that I have. I make my bed in the morning. That's it. But what's something that you do to continue to keep your wellness practices in routine, making sure that you're always abiding by what was meant for you, what has continued to serve you, and what's God's voice. I think it's like, for me personally, recently I feel like I've been in that realm of, am I correctly hearing God's voice? How do I know that I'm intentionally hearing God's voice? And then my pastor had a sermon about it about 2 weeks later, and I was like, oh, okay, word, I hear you. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Confirmation.
Thank you for the confirmation.
Confirmation. Double confirmation.
Right.
Yeah. So that was a 2-part question. I'll start with my routines. What I have, like, at this season of my life, I'm very, very busy. I said this when I first told my family. This is the most I've ever had going on at once in my life. So I cannot sacrifice meditation in the morning. I have to, and before I would wake up and like try to meditate while I was still laying in the bed. I can't do that anymore. Like now I wake up, I shower, get dressed, everything, then I go meditate. I'm up, I'm sitting on my pillows and I'm meditating for real so that I can actually be calm and not be half asleep. Like I can actually center and not like go back to sleep. So meditation is a non-negotiable for me right now. Working out 5 days a week, moving my body. So I do yoga twice a week, I do Pilates once a week, and I weight train twice a week. So I'm moving my body 5 days a week. Eating right, eating period, and then eating right. Unless I'm fasting, some days I will fast if I feel called to fast, but typically I eat because I work out. So eating well, eating light, and eating things that don't like upset my body. Then like scrolling, being mindful of my scrolling, being mindful of what I'm looking at when I'm scrolling, cleaning up my social media, cleaning up the people that I'm talking to, like being intentional about who I'm in contact with. All of these things help with my
day-to-day,
my energy, period. And also, so the Reiki and the yoga have been really helpful. I don't do Reiki on myself every day. I was doing it on myself every day at a period in time, but I do it as I need it now, more so as needed. But just prayer all throughout the day. Like praying in the morning, first thing when I wake up, first thing I do before my feet even touch the ground is pray. Thank God for another day.
Yeah.
Say good morning, pray for the energy that I want to surround me throughout the day, and just give thanks, mostly give thanks in the morning. And then I write. Writing is very important to me. I'm a writer, so like being able to flow and just whatever God is placing in my mind, just to be able to put it onto paper is very important for my energy to cleanse it out. Otherwise, it's very cluttered.
Right.
And those are the most important things. I don't necessarily have everything in a routine aside from my working out and my meditation. That's like the most routine things that I'm doing. But everything else is like, when I feel off, okay, I need to write. When I feel off, okay, I need to give myself some Reiki. When I feel off, I need to do like, throw something else in there, eat a light meal, or not eat at all for the next few hours. So those are the things.
Yeah. And how do you think I Am Yogi has kind of helped you along your journey?
I Am Yogi has been such a gift. I Am Yogi has been one of the most beautiful gifts for me and Lisa. So when I first started at I Am Yogi, when she was still mobile, and I was just like, I used to dance when I was growing up.
Same.
And I knew that I needed to get back to moving my body. Again, I was on that journey, and it was just at that point, like, okay, next thing, what is lacking? And it was movement. So I'm like, okay, yoga's kind of close to dance. Let me try that. And I just went to I actually have a soror who was a part of, yeah, girl.
Why did I know? Okay, so what am I giving?
I saw the sticker on your laptop, so I knew.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I knew.
Oh, dang. I forget.
I knew. But
hey, girl.
Hey, boo. But yeah, so I had a soror who was actually teaching in her studio before it was a studio, when it was mobile. So she invited me. I went to one of the classes, and then COVID, everything. And then one day, it was March of 2020. What are we in? 2023, I guess. I was like, I just need to go consistently. I just need to start going back. And I was actually meeting with Lisa about doing an event at her spot. And she was like, oh, come to class. We're going to have our meeting. Just come to class first. I'm like, is it a beginner's class? She's like, no. I'm like, oh, all right. Through my behind.
She really mean that too.
I was just talking to another classmate today. I don't think Lisa has taught a beginner's class ever in her life. I don't think.
She starts at level 2. She starts at level 2.
Intense. So needless to say, I went into that class and got my behind handed to me. But since then, I never stopped going. And I just grew so much. And then in this past May, I decided to do the yoga teacher certification, which has like catapulted my life in a whole new direction. I feel so aligned and grateful. The reason I needed this was because in 2017, I was SA'd. We know SA, right? And that experience caused me to be very disconnected from my body, very disconnected from my body. And it wasn't like I had wiped the memory out of my brain for a long time. And once it came back to me a couple years after is when I realized like, wow, I have not been feeling anything. Like I've been feeling nothing in my body. And that started a journey of me trying to find things that could help me reconnect. And yoga has been like the biggest catalyst of that, where now everything for me is about what it feels like in my body. I feel God's voice in my body. We talked about God's voice before. Like I feel it as a nudge in my body, as like a difference in something within my vessel. That's how God communicates with me. So I didn't have that for a long time. And it's like I was making all of my choices and decisions from my brain, from my mind. And it's such a difference between making choices from your brain and your knowing versus making it from your body and your spirit, because your spirit is here, you know? So yoga has reconnected me with that to where I can feel when something's off. I can feel when something's not right. I can feel a yes. Like I know what my yes feels like, and I know what my no feels like. I know what peace feels like, right? I know what turbulence feel like. All of that, I discover it on the mat, and then I remember it when I'm out in life. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when I was doing this in yoga, I breathed. I used my breath to get through it, and I got through it, and then it was over. So now when I go out into life, it's like turbulent things can be happening, and I just use my breath, push through it, and get through it. And now it's like, all right, I'm in a peaceful space. I can make a decision. I can make a sound decision. And yoga taught me that. Yoga taught me how to process everything through my body, how to move everything through my body, and like the things that are stuck there, because things get stuck in our body. Like you learn that in training. And there's this book called The Body Keeps a Score. And it's about like trauma getting stuck in the body. And they did interviews with people who were at war and had PTSD and stuff like that, and how their body remembers the things that they experienced. So from the essay experience, like my body was remembering that, and it was holding on to that. Even though my brain didn't remember, and like I didn't cognitively remember, my body never forgot. So anything that was similar to that situation would like put me in a fight, flight, or freeze mode. And then when I started doing yoga, I was able to release all of that tension that was stuck in my body. And I'm constantly able to release anything. So now little things that happen during my life, like trauma is inevitable in this world. So like things that happen that throw me off or cause trauma, I can go onto the mat and release it right there, cry it out, and it's settled. It's gone. It's settled. So that's how I Am Yogi has impacted me, and it's continuing to impact me. I now teach there on Tuesdays.
Period.
My class is called Truth Tuesdays. It's all about authentic self-expression, creating a safe space in your body to be able to express yourself fully. That's my thing. Like that's when we talk about connection with self, it's all about being able to express yourself authentically without caring too much about what anybody else thinks. And my class is about that. It's about the most dramatic movements and being able to do it to the fullest. No matter who's looking, you don't care. You breathe wild, you move wild, you give yourself what you need so you feel safe enough to be who you are. And yeah, that's what my class is about. That's what my life is about. That's what everything is about.
Man, Lord knows I needed this, and I hope anyone else who is listening needed this as well, I think you are such a light. Your story is so impactful, amazing, and the things that you're doing now, and you're still young as hell, and you're doing things that people twice your age have yet to accomplish, and not only just intangible stuff, but in the mental of it all. Like, that's a very, very big accomplishment, honestly. So I hope you are so proud of yourself every single day. And girl, you're doing your thing. Clap it up for her, y'all.
Thank you, my beautiful sister. I'm so grateful to have met you.
Nah, for real.
And if you need anything ever, if I come to mind or to heart, you think of me, like, shoot me a text. You got my number. Hit me up.
Okay, we gonna talk after this.
Yeah.
Y'all, that was another episode of Centered in Hustling. Y'all better say thank you. Thank you, Kayla.
Thank y'all. I'm sending my love. To everybody listening. Thank y'all for holding space for me.
Yes. And now let them know where they could follow you at. How can they keep up with you?
So my Instagram is at the Kayla Bella, TheKaylaBella. That's also my TikTok. And I also have my business Instagram, which is it's at MYBEAUTIFUL.LLC. So mybeautifullife.LLC is my business Instagram, and then my personal Instagram is at the Kayla Bella. My personal Instagram is where I share my journey, and my business Instagram is where I share most of my services.
Period. And you know where to find us at I Am Yogi Studios.
Yes, ma'am. Come see us.
Tuesday. Y'all heard her. Go and see her.
Tuesday, 6 p.m. Every Tuesday, 6 p.m.
Yes. Be well. Enjoy the rest of your week. We're going to see y'all later. Bye.